Hi, this is Mark from Wiki. In this bricks tutorial, I'm going to show you how to overlay an image like this pattern right here on top of a background that's already assigned to a container. So this technique is going to be really good if you need to add some sort of like pattern over, an image like this. This is going to be a great way to pull this off. And I'm going to walk you through step by step on how to pull this off. So let's just jump into this page. I'm going to show you how everything's set up. All right, so this is a very simple page. There's nothing to it. We just have a section over here, the container, which has this pattern background and this background of this like bed. And then you're going to see we have a header inside of here. So I wanted to show that you can have something on top of this. So it's kind of like 3 layers. All right, so let's just start at the top. So in this section, all I'm going to do is I just have some simple padding, which is right here. And I'm just changing the height to 80 VH. So that's it. I didn't change anything else on this section. This is where all the magic's going to be happening, is on this container right here. And as you can see, if I go into this container, I'll just go to the front end. I just have it where I have everything centered right here. And then this is going to be something you might need to enable depending on your use case, is this flex grow. So let me turn this off and show you. If you aren't familiar, this is a really cool feature if you're using Flexbox, is you can have your sections grow to like the size of the container that's sitting in. So in this example, we have this container, which I'm selected. And instead of like trying to figure out how many pixels things are or how much percentage is or anything like that, you could just do a flex grow. And what it's going to do is grow that whole container to fit within this other container it's sitting in. So that's what flex grows. So just change that to a 1. And you can see it's automatically going to grow to that right size. Now inside of here, this is where we're going to go ahead and I assign a background. And in this situation, I just have like this bedroom. And then I have the background position to center. Okay, so that's the pretty standard way you just add a background. Now inside of bricks, there isn't a way natively in the UI right here to add like a pattern on top of that background. Other page builders, I'm familiar with like Elementor and stuff, they allow you to do that kind of built in. But with bricks, you kind of have to do it the structured way and have things just kind of layered on top of it. And then this way you actually don't have a limitation to how many overlays. So you could have 2 or 3 patterns on top of each other if you wanted. So in order to pull that off, what we need to do is inside that container, I'm just going to pull in an image. And in this case, it's this pattern overlay. So as you can see, I just threw in an image element and I'm just assigning it to this SVG wave pattern. So as you can see inside of here, I changed a few options. Usually object fit is to fill, and probably in most cases, you're going to want to do cover. So you can change that to cover. And then if we jump over into style, let me show you what we have. I like to usually, if I know it's going to fill up the whole thing, just throw in a width at 100% and a height at 100%. Now this is going to be the most important part, is you're going to need to select absolute. And what this is going to do is kind of just lock it in place inside this container. And then inside of bricks, you're going to want to make sure that you at least hit 0 right here. That way it's locked to the absolute position right here of like 0, 0. So just kind of lock it into place. And then that's the only setting that you really need to change right here. And if you scroll down, if you want to have a different opacity underneath the miscellaneous section, you can change the opacity to 0.3, because if I do it to like 1, you can see that was a little much. So if I just go to something like 0.3, that should be good. So that's really about it. So the good thing is once it's absolute, you can throw in anything else inside this container and it's just going to sit on top of that. So the one thing to keep in mind is you're going to want to make sure that your Z indexes for everything else on top of this like pattern has, a higher Z index. So if you go underneath your layout for this heading right here, if I just scroll down, you could just do like a Z index of 1, because natively that pattern that is 0. And that's it for this video on how to do background image overlays inside of bricks. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And again, this is Mark from Wiki.